What is up, y'all? Welcome back to Fit Friends. So today I actually have some pretty exciting parts to install. So as you can see, the Fit's already jacked up because I'm that excited about it. And well, I guess there's no point in mucking about. Your boy got a set of Fortunato 500 coilovers. They're lightly used, so I got them pretty cheap. They're not only Fortunato 500 coilovers, they are 12K springs. And when you order from Fortunato, they valve to that spring rate that you order from. So basically these are a set of track spec coilovers. And I'm really excited because I can't wait to see what a set of true track spec coilovers are gonna feel like on track. I've had coilovers before in past cars, but nothing quite like this, and not for this purpose. With that said, I'm a little nervous about what they might ride like on the street because I do street drive the car. But I mean, worst case scenario, I can probably drop down to like 10K springs and see how that goes. I probably will at some point just because I think 12K is a little aggressive. So as you can see, I have the rears jacked up, and I'm going to start with those just because they're a lot simpler than the fronts. I can just toss those in and then I'm going to move on to the fronts. So let's get started. Pro tip, if anything gets stuck in a socket, just smack it on the floor. Usually it comes right out. If it doesn't, give it a few more tries. So these rear shocks, it's literally just one 14 mil, and then the whole swing arm should probably just go ahead and drop down, and then I might have to pry a little bit, but then I can get the springs out, so let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see, the spring's right there, and I imagine, yep. Nice! No longer stock ride height, boys! Let's do the same on the other side. Alright, now it's just one bolt on top for the shock. I can go ahead and get installing here. Alright, now to get to the rear shock, damn boy, dark as hell. So to get to the rear shock, it's just behind that cover there. So I'm going to pry that up. And it looks like it's just this tab here, from what I remember. There we go. Voila! Looks like it's probably another 14, so let's send it. Do yourself a favor and go ahead and don't drop that, because I have, and it's a pain in the ass to even get to it, and if you can, and I'm pretty sure I lost a bolt or nut before, so don't drop that. And voila! Shocks out. Got the old springs and shocks out, new springs and shocks right here, just to compare. So with these, as you can tell, the springs are not over the shocks, so they're not a true coilover. But basically how this works is we have these perches here, and these are what you use to set preload on the springs that go in the bucket, and then you set ride height with these. So being these came off of a used car, what I'm planning on doing is just measuring the shocks, making sure they're about the right height, and then I'll set the preload. Basically what you have to do is you measure the spring. They should be 7 inches. On the rear here, I should have an 1/8 inch of preload. So if I have 7-inch springs, when I have preload set, they should measure to 6 7/8. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure all these, make sure everything's good, then we'll install them. All right, so for this shock, what do we got? About 23 on the dot. CUNT hair over 23, so that should be good. Now let's measure these springs. 7 perfect. 7 perfect. All right, sweet. So now I'm gonna go ahead and toss these guys in. First, I'm actually gonna probably put some zip ties on these just to hold the dust boots in place. These are disgusting because I occasionally have to drive on dirt roads, and right now, unfortunately, there's still a little bit of salt on the road, but I have to get these installed so I can enjoy them at the track day this Friday, which is 2 days from now. So let's go ahead and do that.
Well, my microphone failed here, but all I'm doing is showing you that you reuse that bottom spring isolator with the nub, force it into place in the bucket, make sure your spring perch is up top, and you're good to go.
Alright, well now enjoy me trying to do this on my own. Beautiful. Alright, we got one strut in. Time to do the other one. I got my shocks dangling in there, both sides. So next I'm gonna jack up each side of the buckets, put the shock into the bolt hole, and then I'll set up the preload on the springs. I found an extreme area of concern though. If you can't tell, this fit is pretty rusty. And kind of hard to tell, but that's a hole right next to my spring perch. So hopefully that does not become a problem. That spring's gonna be putting a lot more stress on that spring perch than what it's used to, especially on track. So I'm hoping it'll be fine for now. Soon I can figure out a way to reinforce that, because that's genuinely very concerning for me. Well, can't do anything about it now, so let's just pray for me. Oh man. Anyways, let's get these coilovers installed. Alright. Oh, beautiful. Lined right up. Gee, man. I wonder if it's because the ride height's too low for... So basically, if you can't tell what the problem is, what I'm trying to do is get the bolt hole for the shock to line up, and it's not. And I'm currently jacking up the car. So I think what I gotta do is unfortunately I'm gonna have to unlock these collars and adjust the height of the shock and mess it all up. Which I was hoping to keep, but I mean, you know what I might be able to do? I'm gonna measure the threads from the top of the threads to the top of this perch, and that way I can set it even on either side. So I'm gonna do that. All right, just gotta undo this lock and bolt, and then this collar should spin pretty freely, hopefully anyways. All right, well, I'm gonna go get a hammer and a punch and knock this bitch loose. Actually, I'm gonna get a flathead. Got my old dead blow and a fat old flathead. There we go. All right, let's see if that lines up. Well, quick update here. I tried to adjust the height of the shock and I couldn't. So what I had to do was jack up the car again and adjust the height. And I had to adjust it a good inch here before I could even shimmy the spring. Basically, it's a good thing that I had to adjust it because I had to adjust it a lot. The previous owner probably had this thing dumped and it probably wasn't handling quite how it should have. So it's a good thing I had to reset these, and I guess I'll just do it my way. All right, y'all, so that was probably about 30 minutes of just contemplating and debating. But basically what I ended up doing was I adjusted the shock there. I lowered it as much as I could to get the 1/8 of preload I needed on the spring with the perch bottomed out. So instead of adjusting it with the perch, I adjusted it with the ride height. I imagine it should do the same exact thing. I don't know, we'll find out if I'm wrong. But so now, what I'm gonna do is what Fortune Auto recommends, which is smack that collar with flathead and the hammer to lock it down. And then I'll use the Allen head key there to tighten that up, make sure it's all locked up. Do that with the perch as well. And then moving on to the fronts, boys and girls. Well, I just took a quick break and poked a lot more rust out of that hole than I would have liked. Yeah, for now, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just, you know, send a freaking prayer and hope that it stays together. But now let's lock up these collars and go ahead and move on to the front. Alrighty, y'all. So this is gonna be kind of the moment of truth. I'm gonna jack it up, take the jacks out and drop her hard and fucking see, I guess. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Fingers crossed, pray for me. Do all the things, put on like an extra pair of underwear, whatever the hell it is you did when you wanted a snow day. Help me. All right, I mean, sick. Thank you for the guy that put on the extra pair of underwear. I really felt you. Alright, sick. You know, that's actually not nearly as low as I was anticipating. That's, not gonna lie, it's a little disappointing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a track car, not a stance car. Yeah, that's a lot more wheel gap than I thought I'd have. The stock wheels and tires are a little bit taller than those. That's still a lot more wheel gap than I thought I'd have. Well, if my face is any sign, just went through war with that rust. But I guess it's onto the fronts and hopefully no more surprises. I can't imagine there will be, but I also couldn't have imagined that I'd find that. Onto the fronts. All right, onto the fronts. First step, I guess, is gonna take the wiper cowl off, so let's do that. Oh man, hey, shout out to the shifter bushings video where I told y'all not to forget that piece in the corner, and I forget that piece in the corner every time. Man, I pulled this thing off so many times now, I think I've broken every single clip. Well, y'all, little update. I just worked a little bit, and the same thing that always happens with these effing end links. The hex head in the middle stripped out while trying to break free the nut. Luckily, actually though, the lower end came out of the sway bar, and that's the end that we need to come out, because then the end link can just stay with that strut when I pull it out, because we need different end links anyways. I guess it's not the end of the world. Hopefully we have the same luck or better on the other side, but I won't hold my breath. So one strut out, one new coilover to go in. So honestly, this thing kind of actually looks like it's all prepped and ready to go. I just had to take the knob for adjusting dampening off. Measuring the spring, looks like it's at 6 1/4, and that's what the preload's supposed to be. A touch above, but I think that'll be okay. Well, nah, I'm here. I might as well do it right. I probably am gonna have to adjust the ride height because it's probably not gonna match the rear, but I'm gonna put it in. Holy fuck, dude. My God. So anyways, I'm gonna compress this spring until it's 6 1/4 inches. Then I'll tighten that Johnny back up. I really wish I had those coilover wrenches that come with these, but unfortunately he didn't have them. So I'm stuck doing this. Actually, we're at 6 1/4. Perfect. Let's go ahead and tighten that up. Like I said, we're gonna leave the ride height as is. And we can go ahead and toss this side in. Probably gonna have to adjust the ride height, like I said, because that rear was not where it needed to be. Wish me luck with this install. Hopefully it goes as smoothly as the rears did. Oh man. Ruh-roh. Nailed it. So before I connect the bottom of this side with the new strut, or coilover, whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna get the other side disconnected, because sometimes when you're trying to put in a different size shock than what's on the other side, you end up fighting yourself because you have the sway bar and everything. So like the two sides are connected, and like one side's trying to lift, so it's trying to push the other down. And it's just, I'm gonna go ahead and get that other side disconnected, and I'm gonna throw up the other shock, strut, coilover thing. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I'm gonna start with the end link because it is the most difficult part, and I'd rather just get that out of the way. Wish me luck. Wrong size. All right, good start. Round 2. Oh, heck yeah, dude. Wahoo! All right, I'm just gonna leave that other end on the end link, or on the strut, because I don't care, and it's the important part is off. Man, I really wish that this was a freaking ratcheting wrench, let me tell you. Wahoo! Alrighty now, so same stuff. Let's measure this. Probably not where it needs to be. Actually, this one is. Huh. Dude's riding around with one side in the wrong setting. Whatever. Good thing we measured. And this guy's ready to go in. Oh man, I really hope I put these in the right side. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't put them in the right side. Well, I guess it's not that bad because it's only one nut. Well, I guess I'm gonna undo that. See y'all in a second. Mulligan, I guess, you know? So if you're confused, basically they have sides because, as you can see, these two are mirror images of each other essentially. So you want them to not be a mirror image, you want them to be the exact same. So that one goes on the passenger side, this one came from the driver's side. So that's the driver's side. So let's go ahead and install this guy. Cool. Oftentimes with coilovers, you gotta jack it up for the hub and the coilover to actually meet. Dog, these things are so annoying sometimes, I swear to God. Unfortunately, what happened was the axle pulled out of its place, which seems to freaking happen a lot with these cars. So anyways, as you can see, it pulled out of its freaking hole within the CV. It pulled out of that. So I gotta smack it back in, and it's sometimes a pain in the freaking butt. Sometimes you get lucky. Sorry. Sometimes you get lucky. Oh, Christ. Nice. I was not looking forward to that. Wow. All right, y'all. You're joining me after another period of contemplation. And this contemplation is about, do I want to keep the front sway bar? And the reason I'm contemplating it is because a lot of the fast guys, actually a lot of guys in general, but a lot of the fast guys in Sunday Cup, they like to run no front bar. And that's part of the reason why I went with such stiff springs, is to compensate for that, because I was planning on not running front bar. The only way to get no front bar is to pretty much to cut it out, unless I want to drop a subframe, which I don't want to drop a subframe. I think for now I'll probably leave the front bar and I'll try it on the track day this weekend and see how I like it. See if it's too much, too little, see what I think. And if it comes to it and I don't like it, I guess I'm just gonna cut it out. But for now, I think I'm gonna leave it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and slap all this back together, and yeah, then we'll be good to go. So, I don't think I explained it, but these shocks, or well, the struts in the front, actually have ovaled holes, like if you saw my last video. I'm thinking about ovaling them out more, but we'll see how much camber this will give me. Probably not enough, so I'll probably end up ovaling these out a little bit more. Honestly, I might just oval them out more now. I think I'm gonna do that. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna trim as much as I can to get as much camber as I can out of the bottom of these struts. So, let's get to it.
Waiting for connection.
Nice. All right. That should be a fat amount of camber. Hopefully it's not too much, because that seems like it's a lot. If it's somewhere in the 4s, I'll be happy. I prefer 4 flat, but it looks like it's a lot. So we'll see. All right, y'all. So pretty much all good here. Just need a nut and bolt check, tighten up this end link. So what I ended up doing is I just did one end link here, and I consulted people on the track fit pages, and they say if you connect one end link and leave the other one out and adjust this to the correct size, whatever that means, that it won't clatter around and hit the other control arm or axle or what have you. So I adjusted it to what I think is the correct size, and I did jack up this side with the connected strut or end link to the sway bar and checked on the other side, and it did not hit anything. I hope that's, you know, good. I don't know. We'll find out real shortly. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and nut and bolt check everything, and we should be good to go here. So now it's time to put the wheels on, drop it down, see how low it is, see if I have to adjust the ride height, which I probably will. Then I'll have to align it. That shouldn't be too bad, honestly. I've aligned it plenty of times, so hopefully it just goes smoothly. Although at this point, I've been up for almost 24 hours because I worked at 12 last night. Yeah, it's definitely weighing on me, that's for sure. But this went decently smooth for what it was. Definitely could have done without that rust hole. Wasn't much of a guide, unfortunately. I intended it to be, but hopefully it helped y'all maybe a little bit, but probably not. But yeah, let's get to the wheels and an alignment. All right, wheels are on, and you can see That's a ton of camber. Ton of toe in as well. That just happens when you lower the car and you give it camber. It's crazy. And that's with the wheel straight, as you can see. So it's looking like I'm definitely gonna have to adjust the ride height because that's pretty low in comparison to my monster truck back there. So we'll get the ride height where we want it. Make sure it's even both sides, probably front to back as well. And then we'll align it. Damn, she dumped. That'd be sweet if I could make it work like that, but that's just absolutely not gonna happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the rear, see how much wheel gap I have, measure the front, adjust accordingly. All right, so here we got 6 inches rim defender, 4 1/4. Dang, dog. Hopefully my batteries last on my mics. Oh man, I wonder if I'm gonna have to adjust the end link again. I shouldn't, should I? Should all move as a unit. So about 2 1/4 again. Why is this one not moving? Well, tune back in when I figure this one out. All right, y'all. After a ton of struggling, I conceded that the best option was to use my pliers. And I didn't want to because it marks up the threads and I hate it, but I had to. So I tried to cover it as best I could with like cardboard and some paper towels, but it still marked it up. It is what it is, I guess, you know, like what am I gonna do? Not complete the job. So I got it where I want it. Let's toss the wheel on, measure some ride heights, see if I'm content with it. And if I am, then we align. Let's toss this wheel on real quick. Do a little bit of measuring. 5 1/4. I might take that. I might just take that. So let's align. So to align it, I'm just using these toe plates here, and I believe I got these on Amazon for probably a couple $100 maybe. They're pretty great, work awesome. It even came with this fancy schmancy digital gauge that I can't seem to remember where I put, but it'll measure the camber angle. So it'll give you like an actual measurement of how much camber you have, which is pretty cool. So you can make sure that's even on both sides and then adjust your toe. So let's do exactly that. All right, 4.6 there, about 4.5 over here. Oh, 4.6. Sweet, dude. I have like 4.65 over here and 4.60 over there. So that's like dead nuts even. Couldn't ask for a better outcome, being I modified the brackets to the knuckles. The only step left is to align the toe. Let's hop to it. So to use these, you line them up either side. And then I'm gonna take a tape measure. I'm gonna put one through this top hole, go to the other side on the top hole, and then one back here, and same on the other side. You measure from back to back, and from front on the other side to front over here. It'll make more sense when I show y'all. All right, y'all. Give you a little breakdown here. So you can see tape measure, top slot, tape measure, top slot, right? So you come over there and then you measure to the top slot, and that's 73 and just under a half. And this is 69 and just over a half. So you take the difference between the two, and that is how much toe in or out you have. In this case, it's toe in, and it's a insane amount. So then you have to correct that, but it's not just as simple as, oh, you turn like each side like this much. Just because where your tie rod is like, essentially your tie rod is like about here, right? So if I move this a whole inch, this way out here is gonna move more because it's got more distance on it, right? It's a further radius, I guess you'd say. So you gotta be careful with how much you change, and you gotta remember how much you do on one side, you gotta do on the other, otherwise you're not gonna end up with the correct result. So because it's so sensitive, this might be one that I just kind of do on my own and then come back to y'all, because I really don't want to mess it up, because I don't have time to get the car professionally aligned before the track day. So I gotta make sure that I do this right. So I'll probably see y'all in a minute. All right, y'all. She's aligned, and actually she's like dead nuts, dude. Like dead nuts. I'm pretty pumped about it actually. So hopefully we can see here a little bit. So we are about 71 1/4 there. And then here we are 71 1/4. Perfect. Not gonna lie, there's a strong possibility that the wheel's not gonna be perfectly straight, because before I think it was slightly off and I think I messed it up a little bit more. So eventually I'll probably just go get a professional alignment, but for now, she's perfect, dude. So this was more of a project than I wanted it to be, but it's usually how it goes. But I'm happy with it. I mean, I wish we were lower in the rear. I might take one of the spring perches out and see what that does for me. But I'm pumped about the camber I have, and I can't wait to see how it rides. I'm a little nervous, like I was saying, because, you know, 12K springs is a lot, especially in a little shrinky-dink thing like this. So, we'll see. Track day is in T-minus, I don't know, 30 hours, something like that. I don't know. I've been up for almost 30 hours at this point because, I don't know, I'm an idiot. So I'm gonna go home and go to bed. And tomorrow I'm gonna come back and continue to prep this thing and grab all my gear and be ready to rip on Friday. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give me a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more content, because I got some fun stuff coming up, including multiple track days. See you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Come again.